what are the requirements to say that you have a production car? I'm one of these absolute psychopaths that think in order to say production car, it has to be produced by the people that are claiming it. Not necessarily the body, but I'm saying the car. The ZR1 is a production car made by General Motors. So's the Z06, so's the E-Ray. Back in the day, when SVT had their division, Ford, not a third party, it was a Ford division, the Lightning, the Cobra, the Focus, and other variants. SRT is a division of Dodge. And that's where you got your Viper, Hellcat, Trackhawk, Charger, and what's the other one? Trackhawk, Charger, and the Durango Hellcat. So I'm one of these absolute psychopaths that think that the vehicle, in order to claim to be a production vehicle, it has to be produced by you. Right? Porsche GT3 RS, made by Porsche. But what happens? The internet cucks come on in and start throwing stipulations and curveballs and change-ups, circle change, at people. Well, the 992MD, what the fuck? I said GT3 RS. And why do I say GT3 RS? It's NA, cheaper MSRP, and quicker around the Nürburgring than an 850 plus horsepower Mustang, in quotation marks, GTD. In my opinion, the Ford GT is made by Multimatic. The car is literally hand-built by Multimatic. Hand-built. That means no exoskeleton union motherfucker making $120,000 a year has a machine that picks up a GTD wheel, a GTD fender, a GTD headlight, a GTD spoiler, and puts it on a car. It goes to Multimatic. Body in white, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Good job, robot. Thank you, robot. No problem. Now let's take this robot fucking welded body part and send it off to Multimatic. That's it. You send it off to Multimatic. And Multimatic goes, okay, transaxle, give us one of your motors. Okay, here's a motor. And we'll do our honky-dory suspension and we'll put a badass carbon fiber accents or body parts on it. Make it wide body. Get an Apropovic, whatever the fuck, exhaust. Like, this is a 100% aftermarket vehicle. And Ford has the balls to say Ford is the first production American company with a production car to go under 7 minutes in the Nürburgring. Are you fucking insane? Are you on crack? Let's give you historical context. Ford versus Ferrari. You know where I'm going with this. Hey, Steve Schleckenberg, is it tingling your asshole talking about this? Who beat Ferrari? Ford or Shelby with Ford parts? Go. Go. The body was not made by Ford. The body was made from somewhere else. If I'm not mistaken, was it Italian? Was it an Italian body? Right? Then Carroll Shelby, when he wasn't blowing people off in the weeds, when he wasn't chewing gum, when he wasn't doing...
You know what's better than chewing on a dick first thing in the morning? Chewing on two of them. Whoa, that's a ton of dick cheese. Luckily, I love when he makes it smell like Badusi in the room. The best vehicle I ever owned was an automatic 65 twin supercharged Cobra. I could stroke your dick while going 200 miles per hour, no problem.
British So a lot of you are like, actually, the car was British. Okay. Body was British. Engine was Ford. And you, sons of bitches, say Ford beat Ferrari? I argue that Ford stroked the check and Shelby beat Ferrari. Right, Steve Schleckenberg? So when I saw the Ford versus Ferrari movie, the worst movie I've ever seen that is car related ever. Why? Because apparently Carroll Shelby did nothing but chew gum. He came out of the womb chewing gum. That's all I saw in that fucking movie. And motherfucking Matt Damon chewing gum. Okay. So I go, okay, Ford versus Ferrari. It's actually Shelby with a Ford motor versus Ferrari. Right? Let's fast forward. Now, can you make the same distinction with the Ford GTD? I can. I can comfortably say that the accomplishment is due to Multimatics expertise, design, suspension, experience in racing, not Ford's. No, Fast and Furious wasn't better. Fast and Furious was whack shit. Ford versus Ferrari was terrible, but you guys are got your heads up so far into Ford's ass, you can't see straight. So I do this crazy little thing. And I go, well, who claims the GTD? Does Ford claim the GTD? No. Multimatic claims the GTD right here. Multimatic.com, vehicles/road vehicles. The Ford GTD, the most advanced Ford Mustang, starts life at the Ford plant before being transported to Multimatic, where it's handcrafted and equipped with state-of-the-art race-inspired technology. That is no different than me sending a Fox body to a chassis shop, 1320 Fab, and then I say, here, take this Ford Mustang body and make a twin, double frame rail, crazy spec'd out car that runs sixes, then with a, 4.8 Noonan, go win some fucking drag radio class, and then I have the fucking nerve to say Ford won that class. Multimatic, transaxle, suspension parts, carbon stuff, all their shit. The only thing that you would say it would be the power plant or the power train. Brakes, suspension, body parts, aero, all Multimatic. Why are you Ford guys sucking this thing's dick so hard? Because it has a Ford motor in it? Stop jocking. You look so stupid. So then I made the case, and I made the mistake of being actually in the threads, with these fucking morons. So then I go, wait a minute. You're telling me you're impressed by a 6.57 mile, Nürburgring lap time, 6.57. But then I looked up and naturally aspirated GT3 RS, production vehicle made at Porsche. They didn't stamp the body out and send it out. Porsche made it in-house. 649. Almost 8 seconds. But wait a minute, Alex. The GTD did it in suboptimal conditions. Why? Why is it every single time y'all post something, you say the same shit? It's got a lot more in it. They basically did what every grudge racing homosexual and every asshole that posts a time slip on the time. It's got a lot more in it. Then why don't you show me before you put out anything how much it's tapped out? How come you never hear this from a racer? That's all it's got. Words you will never hear from a racer. She's tapped out. That's all I can get out of her. She's done. Okay. So you're telling me that Ford posts this and says, oh, there's got a lot more in it. You ain't got 8 seconds in it. And the Ford GT3 RS naturally aspirated beats it by 8 seconds. Maybe in optimal conditions. Maybe they don't rent out the track. Maybe they do it with traffic. Now, how much is a MSRP? Let's talk MSRP numbers. How much is a GT3 RS? Again, nobody is going to go to the Nürburgring. Nobody's going to buy these cars. We are all poor here. But let's educate the dum-dums, and this is basically going to generate clips to spread all over Instagram to educate the fucking retards. How much is a GT3 RS? $241,000 starting. Again, I get it. Used ones go for $500. I get it. What I'm saying is the MSRP offered by Porsche is $241,000, almost a full $100,000 cheaper than a GTD, naturally aspirated. So you're telling me that the GTD is something impressive? Who made the Viper? The ACR Viper, was it made by Dodge or did it go out? This one I genuinely don't know because of the arrow. I guarantee the SRT stuff, the regular V10 and maybe the GTS C, but the ACR, meaning the Billy Badass with the arrow, that might have been something else. So someone said 80,000 difference MSRP. Exactly, $100,000 higher MSRP, 300 more horsepower, tells me all I need to know. Wasn't a fan of this fucking car from the beginning. If you're Steve Schleckenberg, do you want an NA car that's 8 seconds quicker around the Nürburgring, or do you want a supercharged car that you might get one lap out of it on an actual session? Again, none of us give a fuck. None of us going to be able to afford it, but this is good to educate the dum-dums out there. A GT3 RS is an infinitely better car than a GTD. And it's been out for a while. It's proven. It's got the background. Now you're up against Multimatic. You're not up against Ford because I can't go to a Ford dealership typically and pick out a GTD on the lot. They're all allocated. They're all gone. They're gonna do that thing where you can't sell it for another year, and you will see $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 GTDs that are slower than a GT3 RS in the Nürburgring, its proving grounds. In America, we drag race and roll race. That's all we do. So apparently, everyone is telling me that the ACR Viper was made by Dodge. The Viper, the ACR Viper, Mr. Garage Bill Coyote, please correct me if I am wrong because I am not a homosexual and look into road racing all that much. The ACR Viper back in 2017 ran a 7.01 Nürburgring time, 3 seconds off in traffic, manual, naturally aspirated. Tell me I'm wrong. 701 naturally aspirated, manual in 2017. Now, I don't care about this. I just dislike the people that are uneducated as fuck about everything. 701 in bad weather too. The ACR Viper, the king daddy of all king daddies. The king daddy of all king daddies went 701 back in what, 2017, manual, not a DCT, not a transaxle, naturally aspirated, getting after it. Shut the fuck up about production cars. I could have gone to a Dodge dealership in 2017 and for $90,000 to $100,000 picked up one of these sons of bitches and drove the motherfucker home. A GTD is going to be special motherfuckers only. So please cut the shit about this GTD being some badass shit. It is engineered by a race team that got a power plant and a couple of parts from Ford and made a badass vehicle that is barely quicker than a 2017 ACR Viper NA stick and slower than an NA GT3 RS, both that are actual production vehicles that came from the people that have the nameplate on them.